It's Friday night. Say yeah for it's another edition of Strictly Sports. Hello, friends. Anthony Play here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports. Joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher. I'm not sure where Bullock is, but if he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll see him next time. So with all that being said, let's dive in to our first story of the week, which is John Beeline. John Beeline is leaving Michigan after 12 seasons to become the Cleveland Cavaliers head coach. Sources told ESPN that he will receive a 5-year deal. Beeline reached a deal with the Cavaliers on May 12th and informed Michigan's administration of his decision to leave for the NBA the following morning. Cavs GM Koby Altman said in a brief statement, John is one of the most accomplished and innovative basketball minds and leaders in the entire game. He has a unique ability to create an outstanding culture that will promote the development of young players and provide a solid structure to the entire program. Not to mention the fact that John Beeline wins everywhere he goes. We are excited Coach Beeline is joining our organization as we continue to build the foundation that any enterprise needs to be successful and competitive year in and year out. Coach Beeline on Twitter saying, thanks to everyone at the University of Michigan for their incredible support these last 12 years. Our fans, alums, leaders, players, and students are amazing. It has been a heck of a ride, and I hope you enjoyed our teams and staff as much as I did. Go Blue forever. Cavaliers have been using the term culture driver internally when discussing the possibility of hiring Beeline, sources said. He's considered one of the elite offensive tacticians and teachers in basketball, a coach who has never been an assistant and climbed almost every level of basketball, coaching high school, junior college, and Division III, 2, and 1. The final step in an odyssey that has brought him an 829, 468 college record has been the NBA, and now Beeline makes the leap. He led Michigan to 2 Final Fours and 4 Big Ten tournament and regular season titles during his 12-year run in Ann Arbor. Well, he was he's expected to join the Cavs front office and ownership. I'm pretty sure he was there for the draft lottery and the combine. So Beeline replaces Larry Drew, who finished last season after Tyronn Lue was fired 6 games into the campaign. Lue won a title with the team in 2016, but LeBron James left in free agency before last season, prompting an accelerated rebuild. Cleveland finished 19-63 this past season. So, yes, Beeline has. I'll tell you what, John Beeline, one of the great minds of the game, and you know, phenomenal career at Michigan. I mean, 2 times he took them to the national championship game. He took them there last year in a losing effort to Villanova, and also took them there in 2013 in a losing effort to Louisville. But yeah, I think this is a smart hire here, a great hire by Cleveland, and who knows, maybe he can get the Cavs back in the right direction. I mean, it's obviously going to be a lot tougher, and this past season was very, very tough, considering they had LeBron James, and of course LeBron left to go to the Lakers, and we know how that ended. And a 19-63 season, and could he be the guy to get the Cavs back up and running again? I don't know. I mean, I'm not doubting his abilities. I mean, it's just the team that's around him. I mean, it's a young team, it's a team that's in need of a serious rebuilding, and maybe, just maybe, I'm not expecting immediate success, but we'll have to wait and see, because it's a very young team, and I don't know if they have the right pieces for Coach Beeline to make a winner here. So while I do like the hire, it's just that I don't expect immediate success based on the team that's been put around him. So we'll wait and see. So, MF, Good old MF Michael Fletcher come on in. John Beilein, the new head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like I said, I wouldn't expect immediate success, but who knows? Maybe down the road.
I don't know if he's going to have any success. I mean, the team's just not good. I think that they got a lot of work. They got a lot of things that needs to be done. I know they were hoping to have gotten like a top tier pick, and in a way they fell out of the top 5. I don't really know if there's really any good talent in the NBA draft. Once you get to John Morant and to Zion Williamson at the top 2, and yeah, you could even say RJ Barrett at number 3, there's a big distinct drop off of the talent level in the upcoming NBA draft. So I don't know. I mean, right now they were penciled in to get DeAndre Hunter, the forward from Virginia. That's the guy that many mock experts are saying that they're going to get. So I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens. But at the end of the day, I mean, John Beilein, like you said, is a great proven winner. Did a tremendous job with the University of Michigan, turning that team around and turning them into a national powerhouse. They were always there in the thick of it in the NCAA tournament, made 2 Final Fours, 2 appearances for the national championship. Unfortunately, weren't able to win it all those 2 times out. But yeah, so I wish him, college game and NBA are 2 totally different animals. So hopefully he has the success in the NBA. I just don't know if he will or not. Nothing more to say, Anthony. Let's move on.
Keep your mic on, MF, because you'll be starting off this next one here. To the NFL, the New York Jets have fired their general manager. Less than 3 weeks after the Jets gave general manager Mike Maccagnan responsibility to oversee their all-important draft selections, they fired him. A stunning move by a team already noted for a long history of mismanagement. And their new head coach, Adam Gase, is going to take over the role on an interim basis. Oh, MF, as Bills and Dolphins fans, I mean, we got to be...
Oh, we're grinning. We are giddy. We are excited. We love this. We love this Jersey Shore Kardashian nonsense, as you would like to say. But my God, I don't even know what to think or what to say. And I was just like, what in the world? First off, they should have fired the general manager a long time ago. No doubt about it. He had to go. But now you hire Adam Gase as the interim GM? He's a head coach. He's got no idea what he's doing. You thought he was horrible as a play caller for the Miami Dolphins. Now you're going to enlist him to try to get the talent and the players for the New York Jets? You're literally asking for trouble now. I thought the Dolphins were going to be in last place in the upcoming NFL season. I think we're going to get 3rd place because of this. Thank you, Jets, for screwing up again, as usual. So, I mean, we always have an old saying, JETS, you suck, 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 suck. Well, you shot yourselves in the foot again. I don't have any hope or prayer or anything like that for the New York Jets. Are you kidding me? You want me to say something nice about the Jets? At least their stadium is beautiful. The MetLife Stadium is one of the nicest stadiums in the NFL. No doubt about it. But the 2 teams that plays in that stadium should play in the nearest landfill because they're garbage. Florio, it's yours, bro.
But hey, didn't MetLife Stadium look great for WrestleMania?
Look, anything they do in MetLife Stadium is always amazing. They got the Copa. They did the WrestleMania. Recently, they got announced that they're going to be doing I think they're doing the championship game. No, they're not doing the Copa, the Gold Cup this year. But in the FIFA World Cup, when we get that in 2026, MetLife Stadium has been announced as the home site for the grand finale. The World Cup final is going to be in that stadium.
Wow.
That is huge. That's a mega honor for the New York, New Jersey area. The last time we had a World Cup in the United States was '94, and the grand finale was in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. So MetLife Stadium, get ready. And plus, you never know. There could be another Super Bowl down there. They had a Super Bowl down there. I hope someday they'll have the national championship game because they deserve it. Another WrestleMania, maybe. You never know because it seems like WWE does love New York, so I could see them do another WrestleMania in about 5 to 10 years. So who knows?
Yeah, but I just have a quick thought because there are other things I want to get into, especially one thing near the end that I really want to get into. MF knows what that is, but replacing a general manager so soon after the draft in any sport, to me, I interpret it as a sign of organizational bungling and disarray. Why not make the change earlier to allow the replacement time to set the philosophy and direction of the team, much as the Jets did by firing Todd Bowles immediately after the season and then hiring Adam Gase? But I don't know. But much of the excitement for the Jets over the past 5 decades has come off the field rather than on it, with only sporadic periods of success. Under general manager Maccagnan, they had a record of 24-40, finished last in they finished last in the AFC East the last 3 years. The team did show some progress after the recent draft selections of Leonard Williams, Jamal Adams, and particularly Sam Darnold, who displayed enough promise in his rookie season last year to be considered the Jets' quarterback of the future. But nonetheless, like I said, that's a team that is in so much disarray right now. It is not even funny, and I feel bad for anybody who's a New York Jet fan. I really do, including including a dear family member who I'm sure he's probably scratching his head right now. I'm sure. So, but it is what it is. So, we'll just have to wait and see. So, okay. Now, this is one of the big topics here on the docket. Now, the other day, myself, MF, and Michael Bullock, along with our dear friend Michael Silvera, we went to SmackDown Live in Providence, and before the show, we went and grabbed, a pre-show supper, if you will, at Dave and Buster's. And one of the things we talked about, because they had it on the TVs, they talked about Magic Johnson, and Magic Johnson did an interview on ESPN's First Take, and my goodness, he did not hold back. Let me just say it like that. He did not hold back on anybody during that First Take, most notably ripping on Rob Pelinka, and accused him of backstabbing and so much more. I mean, oh man. And we didn't even know this was going to be on it, but here it is. Using the word betrayal, Magic Johnson made it clear that general manager Rob Pelinka was the one, quote unquote, backstabbing him, telling people that Johnson wasn't working hard and wanting to take his job with the Lakers. In an appearance on First Take on Monday morning, Johnson did not hold back, identifying Pelinka as the person to whom he was alluding when he mentioned that he was tired of the backstabbing and the whispering that was going on behind his back when he suddenly stepped down as president of basketball operations on April 9th. Magic says, and I quote, "I start hearing, Magic, you are not working hard enough. Magic's not in the office. People around the Laker office were telling me Rob was saying things. Rob Pelinka and I didn't like those things being said behind my back, that I wasn't in the office enough. So I started getting close to my friends outside of basketball, saying those things now were said to them outside of basketball now, just not in the Lakers office anymore. Johnson later added, when asked who had betrayed him in the Laker organization, if you're going to talk betrayal, it's only with Rob. He added, so these things are surprising to hear and disheartening, but I look forward to the opportunity to talk with him and sit down with him and work through them, just like in any relationship. They're just simply not true. I stand beside him. I stand with him as a colleague, as a partner. I've always supported everything he's done and will continue to. Of course, Magic's departure stunned the NBA, and LeBron saying he would have appreciated at least a phone call. A source close to LeBron told ESPN that he thought Johnson, quote unquote, did well during his appearance on Monday morning. And then he also talked about Jeanie Buss and just so much. And Magic said he was prepared to help elevate Pelinka to eventually replace him, but that he could no longer work alongside someone he felt was trying to undercut him. And of course, he had high praise for LeBron, obviously, who doesn't? And man, I mean, that was without a doubt the most scathing interview I've ever seen. And with all my work commitments and everything else, I personally have still not had time to sit down and watch it. I will eventually. But in all honesty, I mean, man, tell us how you really feel, Magic. That's all I can say on that. And I don't know what else there is to say, except I know someone who can go in depth with this better than anybody, better than me. And that's MF, because I know MF, I know MF saw the interview. He's probably watched it more than once. I wouldn't be surprised. So MF, I mean, we got into this the other day. I mean, I know you can go much more better and much more better in depth with this than I can. So the first take interview, I know you saw it.
Yep. I saw it live as it happened.
Well, there you go. So perhaps you can get more in depth with this than I can.
It was a very eye-opening interview. It took about 3 segments, totaling about maybe a half an hour to almost 40 minutes. And no stone was unturned. It was basically from why he left to what led to everything leading up to the departure, to the future of the Lakers, the future of LeBron James, and the future of Magic as a whole, as an individual. It was very interesting to see how he reacted about the Lakers and the whole 9 yards. And there was layers that Magic went down and broke down. Yes, he went in depth about Pelinka. He went in depth about some of the drama that went in the Laker organization. And he spoke about certain details. Basically, one of the deals that was talked about was that mid-season trade that never happened, where they were going to try to make the trade to New Orleans about Anthony Davis. And he talked about how far and how deep the roster was looking and what type of impact these players were going to be, and how that trade basically got kiboshed. And it wasn't because of the Lakers. New Orleans was the ones that ruined the trade. And that's a very telling, interesting point. The general manager of the New Orleans Pelicans literally torpedoed the trade. He was the one that made it public. He was the one that put it out there. While everybody wanted to keep it hush-hush, the New Orleans Pelicans general manager was the one that spewed about, oh, the Lakers are making this trade. We're probably going to get Lonzo Ball, Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, and everything else. And then Laker Nation was like, wait a minute, what? Hold up, this is way too much. And that's why the trade fell through. He was gonna talk about he talked about that trade, talk about the toxic nature. He literally ran Pelinka under the bus, ran him over like 3 or 4 times in this interview, which was shocking. And then he talked about, how he wanted to fire Luke Walton, and this was very telling that, I was supposed to report the Jeannie Buss. She was the last person that I talked to because she gave me the reins and the power to do it. But at the end, Jeannie was the one that was going to tell me yes or no. And then that somebody else got involved that should not have gotten involved. And basically there was too many chefs in the kitchen and not enough, there was too many chiefs, not enough Indians. That's the way that it was. People are sticking their hands where it's not supposed to be belong. And that's why you got the problems that you got in Lakerland. Like I said, Anthony, it was very, very, very shocking and very interesting to see how transparent Magic was during all this and how open he was about the Laker business, the Lakers in general. And it was very, very, very interesting to see, to open that velvet rope and see what was really going on, the inner workings of the Laker machine. And let me tell you, you talk about and we were saying how the Knicks has the drama with Dolan and the whole 9 yards. I've never seen any more Hollywood drama. It's like a Hollywood script. It is like a soap opera. This is like Days of Our Lives or General Hospital because it's beautiful theater what we're watching right now with the Lakers. Yeah, I know. Is it Kardashian-like? Yes, I'll give you that. But wow, this was really interesting. And like I said, I think Stephen A, Max, and even Molly was saying how open and how transparent he was with this interview, and I think that's the key word is how open Magic was. Lakers, you got a lot of decisions to make, and you are definitely not looking good after what Magic said. I mean, you guys looked horrible in the eyes of the NBA and in the eyes of the fans of basketball. If what Magic is saying is legitly true, because you never know, he might be saying it to stay face. But I'm going to give Magic Johnson the benefit of the doubt on a lot of the points that he made. He made the Pelicans look bad, and if I am Zion Williamson, I would definitely be second guessing myself. Is this the right position to be in New Orleans? I might want to get out as quickly as possible. I might even tell the Pelicans, don't you dare draft me at the number 1 spot in the upcoming NBA draft. I'm just saying. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of layers that went down, Anthony. But for me, I was riveted for that entire event. I mean, you want to talk about a must-see event, please go out of your way to watch this on YouTube if they have it. Definitely an incredible interview. Like I said, very eye-opening, to say the very least. Anthony, it is completely all yours.
Okay, so yeah, it's reality show drama. That's what it is. I mean, not just the Kardashians and Jersey Shore and all that, but any god awful reality show that's on TV today. That's what it's like, and that's all there is to say on that. So Me personally, I'm a guy who I'm a no nonsense guy. I mean, I don't like drama of any kind, whatsoever. I have no tolerance for it. So, you know, it's just a damn shame that the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the most successful organizations in the history of the NBA, I believe with 16 championships to their credit. I mean, Lord, that's all I can say. And I can only imagine what are all those former Laker greats thinking right now. You know, Kareem and Worthy and Shaq, Kobe, you know, what are they all thinking right now at this pathetic state of affairs within this once proud organization? So, you want to talk about the Jets being a mess in the NFL? Here's another mess for you. So, feel like trashy reality show BS drama? Here you go. That's where you go. So, unfortunately, the hard times have to continue here. Tyreek Evans, the Indiana Pacer guard, suspended for 2 years by the NBA due to a violation of the league's anti-drug program. Evans will have to sit out 2 years, after which he can apply for reinstatement with the league. The Players Association must also approve the reinstatement. The Pacers were informed last Friday by the NBA that Tyreek Evans has been dismissed from the league for a violation of the league's anti-drug policy. We take these matters seriously and will reach out to Tyreek to offer our support. The league and the NBA Players Association are prohibited from publicly disclosing what caused Evans to be suspended. A player can be disqualified for failing a test for a drug of abuse or being convicted or pleading guilty to possessing or distributing drugs. OJ Mayo and Chris Birdman Anderson, two of the most recent notable players suspended under the same rule. The 29-year-old is a former first-round pick of the Sacramento Kings and was the NBA Rookie of the Year in 2010. He played 69 games for the Pacers this season, averaged about 10.2 points, 2.9 rebounds, and 2.4 assists a game. Started 18 games. And this past season was his first with Indiana, and his scoring total was the lowest of his 10-year career. He showed signs of being a star in the league as a rookie when he started 72 games, averaged 20 points, about 6 assists, and 5 rebounds a game. But that scoring average ended up being the highest of his career. He declined in points a game in each of his first 5 seasons in the league. After 4 seasons in Sacramento, he bounced around from the New Orleans Pelicans, back to the Kings, then on to the Memphis Grizzlies and the Pacers. Indiana was bounced in the first round of the playoffs by Boston, averaged about 15.3 points a game in 4 games. And his deal with the Pacers was for 1 year, $12.4 million, making him a free agent once the league season ends. So there's the backstory. MF, I mean, man, Tyreek Evans, 2-year suspension. You know more. You are our law and order. So what happens next?
Basically, no, it's a done deal. He's out for 2 years. He's out for 2 years. He has to apply for reinstatement. I believe Adam Silver has the last say if he comes back or not. And it's an unfortunate incident, you know. Now the thing is that it could have been performance enhancing drugs. It could be marijuana. It could be cocaine, whatever. But these are the rules, and this is normally USADA style rules that they do. The NBA is cracking down on drug abuse and drug related stuff like this, which I applaud. But if you get caught, you know, you are perpetrated for this kind of punishment. So, I mean, it is unfortunate that Tyreek got caught in this because he was a pretty good player when he first came out, playing for New Orleans for a number of years, and was a rising star for the team, you know, coming out as a rookie. And he was one of the guys that I was keeping my eye on for a long while. Then he kind of fell off a little bit with injuries and whatnot. And unfortunately, something like this to happen, very, very unfortunate. And, I feel bad because I have a lot of respect and I did like Tyreek Evans, man. He was a good player for him. But that is the NBA. It is the nature of the beast. And hopefully, you know, hopefully he learns his lesson, clean ups his act, and he'll be good to go once he comes back. But as far as anything else goes, um, it's unfortunate, Anthony. This sucks. There's really nothing more to say about it. So, let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the exact same way. And again, this is where my virtues come into play here. I mean, in addition to being a no nonsense, hate the drama kind of guy, um, I'm also what's called straight edge. I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I damn sure don't do drugs. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm not going to say he had the most promising career, but still, a career in the NBA is big deal. You're getting paid big money. And, and he just threw that away. And, anybody who gets caught doing that, I mean, I applaud the NBA for it. I mean, a 2-year ban, which I think is a great call. And, you know, hopefully it'll clear up his head and he'll hopefully get the help that he truly needs. And I can only pray for him. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pray for this young man and hope that, in a couple of years that he'll be healthier and he'll be back to, he'll be back to playing ball again. And but what it's not only gonna hurt him, it's also gonna hurt his family. I mean, you lose a job of any sort, that's hard times, man. And you not only brought on hard times for yourself, dude, but you also brought on hard times for your family too. I mean, to not have a paycheck for 2 years, oofa. I pray that God has mercy on your soul, dude. I really do. So, and I also pray that you get the help that you need. So, it is unfortunate. So, you know, that's all we can do. All we can do is pray that he gets the help and then everything will work out for him again. Then he can start going back and playing ball again and start, making money for him and his family. So, that's all I can say on that. So, I wish him the best. So, now we're going to get into something extremely fun now. A much, much, much happier thing to get into. And it's something that MF and I are very, very excited about. The 2019 Stanley Cup Finals. They are all set, and we will tip it all off and face it all off on this Monday night, Memorial Day Monday night, a great way to cap it all off. Monday night at 8 Eastern, the Western Conference champion St. Louis Blues squaring off against the Eastern Conference champion Boston Bruins. Game 1 at TD Garden Monday. How did they get here? Well, for the Boston Bruins, first round, a 7-game series win over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Second round, a 6-game win over a very gutsy and up-and-coming Columbus Blue Jacket team. And then in the Eastern Conference Finals, one of the most dominant series performances in recent memory, a clean 4-0 sweep of the Carolina Hurricanes, in which they outscored them, I believe it was 22-5 or somewhere in that nature. I consider it the second most dominant performance in a series by any team. To this day, the most dominant one ever. And MF, you know this one very, very well. 94 first round when the New York Rangers absolutely pounded the New York Islanders in a 4-0 sweep and outscored them in those 4 games 22-3. Rest is history. So, as for the St. Louis Blues, a 6-game win over the Winnipeg Jets in round 1. Second round, a 7-game series win over the Dallas Stars. And then a 6-game series win over the San Jose Sharks. payback for 2016 when the Sharks knocked them out in that very same round. And they split the season series, both teams with a win. St. Louis's win, I believe, came in a shootout, and the Bruins' win came in regulation. So, last time these two teams met in the Stanley Cup Finals, 1970, Bobby Orr dove through the air after scoring the cup-clinching overtime goal in Game 4. Who will be the hero this time? Boston is in the Cup Final for the 20th time in its history and third in the last 9 years. Bruins are seeking their 7th championship and first since 2011. St. Louis is in the Cup Final for the first time since the 1970 series against Boston and the 4th in its history, also in 1968 and 1969. Blues have never won the Stanley Cup in their 51 years. Blues, who advanced to the Cup Final with a 5-1 victory over the San Jose Sharks in Game 6 of the conference final on Tuesday, will try to become the first team to win the Stanley Cup after being in last place in the NHL standings after its 20th game of the season. St. Louis was 15-18-4 and in last place in the entire NHL on January 3rd of this year, before going an NHL best 30-10-5 the remainder of the regular season to finish third in the Central Division. The Bruins will have to shake off some rust in Game 1. They will have been off 10 days since completing a 4-game sweep against the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Final with a 4-0 win on May 16. Boston, who finished second in the Atlantic Division, has won its last 7 games by a combined score of 28-9. We're going to get into some categories here. The first one is game breakers. For the Boston Bruins, after reaching 100 points for the first time in his 10-season career, Brad Marchand is second in the playoffs with 18 points, 7 goals, 11 assists in 17 games behind San Jose's Logan Couture. Marchand had 5 points in 4 games against Carolina in the conference final, tying line mate Patrice Bergeron for most in the series. For the St. Louis Blues, it's simply Jaden Schwartz. He's second in the playoffs with 12 goals in 19 games behind Couture's 14. That's 1 more goal than Schwartz had in 69 regular season games, and 1 short of Brett Hull's St. Louis postseason record from 1990. Schwartz scored 4 goals against San Jose in the conference final, including a hat trick in the 5-0 win in pivotal Game 5. Goaltending, Tuukka Rask, 12-5 in the playoffs with an NHL best 184 goals against and 942 save percentage. He had a shutout in series-clinching wins in the second round against Columbus with 39 saves and only 24 against Carolina. In his previous Stanley Cup Final appearance, he was 2-4 with a 2.21 goals against, a 932 save percentage, and 1 shutout when the Bruins lost to the Chicago Blackhawks in 6 games in a Stanley Cup Final that we still consider the best of all time to this day. For St. Louis, of course, it's Jordan Binnington. A finalist for the Calder Trophy as the Rookie of the Year, Jordan Binnington started on January 7th, his first career start. And from there, he went 24-5-1 with an NHL best 189 goals against, a 927 save percentage, which was 4th, and 5 shutouts. 5th rookie goalie in NHL history to earn his team's first 12 wins in a single postseason. His numbers have slipped in the postseason, 236 goals against, 914 save percentage, 1 shutout. But he made the save on 75 of 77 shots for a 974 save percentage in winning the final 3 games against San Jose in the conference final. The numbers to know for the Boston Bruins, the line of Marchand, Bergeron, and David Pastrnak has scored 38.6% of Boston's goals in the playoffs, including 6 game winners. 19 players have scored in the postseason, tying the Bruins' record. During its 7-game winning streak, Boston has led for 254 minutes and 25 seconds and trailed for only 13 minutes and 8 seconds, all in Game 1 of the conference final. Bruins lead the NHL on the power play in the playoffs at 34%, including 46.7% in the conference final. For St. Louis, Vladimir Tarasenko had at least 1 point in each of the 6 games in the conference final, 3 goals, 5 assists. The fourth line of Ivan Barbashev, Oscar Sundqvist, and Alexander Steen combined for 8 points in the conference final. The Blues have had 18 players score playoff goals. Alex Petrangelo's 13 points are the most by a St. Louis defenseman in the playoff year. Blues are 19.4% on the power play in the playoffs, including 33.3% over the past 4 games. For the injury report, Bruins defenseman Zdeno Chara is expected to play in Game 1 after missing Game 4 of the conference final with an undisclosed injury. Defenseman Kevin Miller, lower body, had another setback in his recovery and will not be ready for the start of the Cup final. And forward Chris Wagner also won't be ready to play after blocking a shot in Game 3 against Carolina. For St. Louis, defenseman Vince Dunn, upper body, has not played since being hit in the face with a shot in Game 3 of the conference final. The Bruins will win if they continue to get scoring from throughout their lineup, particularly at even strength, and Tuukka Rask continues to play at an all-world level. The top line of Marchand, Bergeron, and Pasternak was limited to one 5-on-5 goal in the conference final. That was Patrice Bergeron, who scored in the clincher. But the Bruins didn't need more than that because their power play was lethal and 7 other players scored even strength goals. The St. Louis Blues will win the Stanley Cup if they don't have to play from behind, limit their trips to the penalty box, and Jordan Binnington can match Tuukka Rask. Blues are 9-1 in the playoffs when scoring in the first 6 minutes. The Bruins have been dominant playing with the lead in the postseason, including 11-0 when ahead entering the third period, with their suffocating defensive system and Tuukka's goaltending. St. Louis and Boston have similar depth at forward and defenseman. If Binnington can play at Rask's level, this series will be a toss-up. So, with all this being said, I am going to go with the Boston Bruins to win the Stanley Cup. I think it will be at least 6, but I would not be surprised if it goes 7. I mean, the last 3 years, the team that won the Stanley Cup won it on their opponent's home ice. We haven't seen a team win it at home since Matt Ward's Chicago Blackhawks in 2015, when they knocked off the Tampa Bay Lightning. Me personally, I would love to see the Boston Bruins winning in TD Garden. That would be an awesome moment. They've only got to experience one real championship celebration, and that was when the Celtics won the NBA championship in 2008. So, if the Bruins win the Stanley Cup, I hope they do it in TD Garden. But you never know. But I think it goes at least 6. Wouldn't surprise me if this goes 7. But I think based on the experience and the dominance that I've seen, the city of Boston, for the 3rd time in the last 7 months, is going to be celebrating a championship. Started back in October when the Red Sox won the World Series. And then in February when the Patriots won the Super Bowl. And in my opinion, I think the Boston Bruins will add a Stanley Cup to that mix. And should they do so, Boston will be the first city since the city of Detroit in the 1934-1935 calendar season to win 3 championships in such a stretch. Tigers won a World Series, Lions won a then NFL championship, and the Red Wings won the Stanley Cup. So, in at least 6, maybe 7, the Boston Bruins win the Stanley Cup. So, there's nothing more to say on this. MF, this is the time of the year we live for the most. Not just the playoffs altogether, but once we get to the Holy Grail, this is it, man. The battle for Lord Stanley, the most beautiful trophy in all the sports, the most difficult to win. I mean, the Doc Emmerich to my Eddie Olczyk, but I consider you more the Gary Thorne to my Bill Clement. So, in true Gary Thorne fashion, who wins the Stanley Cup? Do you agree with me and the Bruins, or do you think the St. Louis Blues will make history?
I mean, look, St. Louis has a great opportunity to win the Stanley Cup. There's no doubt about it. A lot of people, but the thing is, a lot of people are going against the Blues. A lot of people that I've been talking to, a lot of the experts has Boston winning the Stanley Cup because of that power play that you've been talking about. And plus, they've been putting they've been scoring a lot of goals in bunches lately. Even though, if you really think about it, the last 3 games in the Western Conference Final, even after the supposed blown call by the referees, that illegal hand pass that led the goal that gave the San Jose Sharks the win. If you saw the last 3 games, game 4, game 5, and preferably game 6, Anthony, St. Louis was playing mad. Like, they were playing roughhouse hockey, bully hockey, as we like to call it, and they absolutely just stymied Logan Couture. They stymied Evander Kane. They stymied Jumbo Joe, Joe Thornton, and they just took them right out of that series. If the defense steps up and can stop the Bruins, and the Bruins has a lot of weapons, you know, they got Marchand, they got Pasternak, they got Chara. If they somehow can stymie these guys and get to Tuukka Rask and make Rask look like the Rask of old, there's a good chance St. Louis wins the Stanley Cup. But I just don't see it. I think Boston is just too deep, too strong, too powerful, and the way Tuukka Rask's been playing this postseason, without a doubt, this has been his personal best. No doubt about it. If the Bruins wins the cup, he wins the Conn Smythe Trophy, and I think that's gonna happen. I think Boston is gonna win the series. I do agree it's in 6 games. I do know there's a few people that's predicting it to be a gentleman's sweep, meaning they win it in 5. I don't see that happening. I just feel like Boston will win the first 2. St. Louis will win the next 2. Boston gets 5, and then unfortunately the trend continues. I think Boston wins the Stanley Cup in St. Louis in Game 6. So, really nothing more to say, Anthony. This is going to be an incredible Stanley Cup final, to say the very least, and I'm excited to get it underway on Monday night.
Amen to that, man. Amen to that. I mean, this is one of our all-time favorite events of the year, and unlike in the NBA, I mean, here in the NHL, we have parity, and that's why I love it. I mean, we've had different fresh matchups every year for the last several years, whereas in the NBA, it's pretty much same old story, same old song and dance. You know, Golden State Warriors back in the NBA Finals. Wow, what a surprise. I can't even believe that. That Western Conference playoff down there is, I consider that the Golden State Warriors Invitational. So that's all I can say on that. So, but at least it won't be Cleveland again. Thank goodness for that. So, we'll get a fresh matchup for the Warriors. And in my opinion, I think it's going to be the Toronto Raptors, but that's a different story. But for right now, it's going to be a great series. I can't wait for it. And, you know, as a kid, I grew up as a Bruin fan as a kid. Ask MF. He knows that story before he converted me to a Ranger fan. And I'm grateful for that. And, 5 years ago, we had our night, but, it didn't go as we would have planned. But, as we always say, it is what it is. So maybe one day we'll get our moment again. But for Derek Ferreira, Michael Bullock, and all of Bruins Nation, all of our friends and family, we're praying for you guys to bring it home. And I got a good feeling you guys will. So with all that being said, let's get in now to the Major League Baseball power rankings for this week. And tell you what, some very interesting things have gone down in the last week or so when it comes to Major League Baseball, and there's nothing more to say. Let's just dive on in. I've got mine all set to go, so I'm going to start it off at number 10 to set it up, and because I know it's a chore to do it, but I've got it ready to go. So started off at number 10 with the Milwaukee Brewers. Milwaukee 29-22, winning their last game. They're 5-5 in their last 10. 11th in runs scored, and they're 15th in batting average, ERA, and WHIP altogether. each. So that's something. So let me okay, there we go. Since our last rankings, they lost 2 out of 3 to MF's Braves. They split a 2-game series with the Cincinnati Reds, and they lost tonight to the Philadelphia Phillies. So they have 2 more against the Phillies this weekend. Then they go up to Minnesota for a 2-game interleague series with the Twins. And then they have a 4-game series starting Thursday in Pittsburgh against the Pirates. So, of course, we talked about, superstar players, and the Milwaukee Brewers, they have a bona fide superstar in Christian Yelich, the reigning NL MVP, and with what he's been doing for them right now, he's on pace to possibly do it again. Although there's a young man in Los Angeles wearing Dodger blue, and we'll get into him in a little bit, who just might have something to say about that. So that's all I can say on that. So number 10, it's Milwaukee. So MF, how about it?
I agree. Number 10 is Milwaukee. No doubt about it. You basically covered everything that needed to be covered. So we're just going to dive right into number 9. And this time, normally when you're 5-5, normally you don't get that much consideration. However, you've won 4 in a row. Okay, you kind of got our attention here. And your record is over 500, which makes you eligible for the power rankings in our Major League Baseball. So because of that, welcome to the power ranking San Diego Padres, number 9. I just don't see how you cannot deny them. Right now, they are they've done all right. Like I said, they did win 4 in a row, including a win over the Toronto Blue Jays. They are 6 out of the division, which you're thinking, oh man, that's a little pretty. Isn't that a little far back? This early in the season. Yeah, granted, but in the wild card, they're only 1.5 games behind. They are in striking distance. They are right there to possibly catch into the wild card race. So I know the wild card is still early. We haven't really even gone through a quarter of the season yet. So all right, granted. So I'm not gonna harp a little too much about it, but my dudes, I got to give a lot of credit where credit's due. I might have gone a little off kilter here. If I did, I apologize, but I mean, oh wait a minute, I think I just noticed something. Oh yeah.
No, you're right, MF. You got this one.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Because are you sure that
I'm going off
Cleveland?
MLB. I'm going off MLB.com, and
Would you because the other team I was thinking was the Cleveland Indians, but
no, they're on the outside looking in.
they're on the outside looking in. All right, so I guess
You got
if
it.
Anthony says I'm all right here, then I guess I'm all right. So I'll stick with the Padres at number 9, and Anthony, I'll give it to you.
Yes, you're absolutely right, MF. It is the San Diego Padres coming in at number 9, 27-24. Winners of 4 in a row, 5-5 in their last 10, 6 behind the Dodgers in the NL West. And let me just pull it up here quick. Okay, there it is. For San Diego, there we go. Okay, yep, everything's updated now, so we're good. I think you were waiting for the standings to be updated, MF. I think that's what you were doing. So for San Diego, they're 4th in WHIP, 8th in ERA, and they're 24th in batting average and runs scored. You would think with sluggers like Manny Machado and Eric Hosmer that number would be higher, but pitching is great, offense not so much. Since our last rankings, they did lose 3 out of 4 to the Pittsburgh Pirates, but they rebounded very nicely. A 3-game sweep of the Arizona Diamondbacks this week, and so far so good with a 6-3 win in Toronto at Skydome, kicking off this 3-game interleague series, the first of 2 3-game interleague series. This one with the Toronto Blue Jays in Toronto. They have 2 more against the Blue Jays this weekend, and then starting Monday, they're going to go up to the stadium, Yankee Stadium, against the hottest team in the league right now, my New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium. 3-game series, and of course for me, it's going to conjure up some memories for me of the 1998 World Series. Speaking of dominant team performances, we all know how that ended. And then from there, a 3-game series with the Miami Marlins next weekend. So yeah, the team that I'm rooting for in the MF's Walmart Baseball League. I don't know how I drew that straw, but I did, and they've been surprising. So I'll give them credit. I'll give them credit where credit is due. So San Diego Padres come in at number 9. Number 8, this is where I have the Philadelphia Phillies. Philadelphia Phillies, winners of 2 in a row, 6-4 in their last 10, 30-21, a 1.5 game lead over MF's Braves in the NL East. They're 10th in ERA, 12th in runs scored, 16th in batting average, and they're 21st in the WHIP. And since our last rankings, a 3-game sweep of the Colorado Rockies last weekend at home. They split a 4-game series with Matt Ward's Chicago Cubs. They win in Milwaukee and beat the Brewers tonight 6-4. They have 2 more against Milwaukee this weekend. They're off on Monday, and then Tuesday they start a 3-game series with the St. Louis Cardinals, and then next weekend they go up to LA, take on the Dodgers in a big 3-game series there. That's going to have some implications, I'm sure. So that's all there is to that. So Philadelphia Phillies coming in at number 8. MF, how about it?
Totally agree. Philadelphia Phillies is number 8. I'm gonna say it. I'm really optimistic about what Philly's doing right now. Look, they got a couple of wins. They're doing pretty good, but you could tell there's a team lurking right now, bottom of the barrel, right behind them, and I'm starting to see that shadows coming closer and closer to them, and I'm getting a little excited right now. The expectations weren't so high, but let me tell you, man, I feel optimistic, but we'll wait and see what happens. I don't want to jump the gun just yet. We'll have to wait and see, but I will say this: there's a lot of good teams coming up the ranks, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. Number 7, it is my turn. You know what? I'm gonna start this one out, and I'm gonna go diving into the National League West. I'm gonna give this to the LA Dodgers. 33-18. They do indeed have the best record in all of the National League. 7-3, winners of 1 in a row. The only reason why I'm not giving them the higher ranking is because there's a team right there in that same level that's actually just as good, maybe even better. And they're actually in the American League West, and we'll get into them in just a tad bit. But no, at the end of the day, I really like this team. I really like their body of work. They've done pretty well for themselves up to this point. So this was tough, but I gotta give the devil its due here. So Anthony, I give it to you. So my pick is the LA Dodgers.
Yep, you got it right. It is your back-to-back reigning, defending National League champions, the Los Angeles Dodgers. There is a scenario. There are 2 teams that have won a game and are 7-3 in the last 10, but the other team has a better record by only half a game. So, MF, you got that one exactly right. LA Dodgers, 33-18. They're second in WHIP, third in ERA, sixth in runs scored, and 11th in batting average. So since our last rankings, they won 2 out of 3 from the Cincinnati Reds in Cincinnati. They split a 2-game interleague series with the Tampa Bay Rays, a very compelling one. And then tonight went into Pittsburgh and absolutely pounded the Pirates 10-2. 2 more games against the Pirates this weekend. One of them is a Fox Saturday night game of the week. Not here, though. 2 more in Pittsburgh, and then starting Monday night, a 4-game series with the New York Mets at Dodger Stadium. And then next weekend, they'll be hosting the Philadelphia Phillies at Dodger Stadium. So some big series coming up for LA. Of course, that Philly series, that's going to be one of the series of next week, and if not the series of the weekend next week. So that's all there is to say on that. Of course, that other player we were talking about, Cody Bellinger. I mean, right now it's a 2-horse race between him and Yelich for NL MVP right now. Yelich is the man for now, but Cody Bellinger is really, really making a case. So that's really all there is to say on that. So with all that being said, LA Dodgers, number 7. Number 6, the team that the Dodgers lost to in the 2017 World Series, the Houston Astros. They were number 1 last week. They take a little bit of a tumble this week, but it's only because of the fact that there are 5 other teams right now that are actually playing better ball than them. Hard to believe, but Houston's still there. They're 34-18, best record in the, well, actually by percentage points, second best record in the American League, 34-18. They lead the league in batting average. They lead the league in WHIP, and they're second in runs scored and second in ERA. That's scary. Since our last rankings, they took 2 out of 3 from Bullets Red Sox up at Fenway. Excuse me. They split a 4-game series with the Chicago White Sox, and then they beat the Red Sox again tonight 4-3. 2 more games against the Red Sox this weekend. And of course, that's a rematch of last year's ALCS. Tomorrow night happens to be the Fox Saturday night game of the week. And then starting Monday, one of the most anticipated interleague series in recent memory, when Matt Ward's Chicago Cubs head to Houston for a huge 3-game interleague series that will have, you better believe that's going to have some implications on next week's rankings. You better believe it. And then they'll be off on Thursday, and then starting Friday next weekend, they go up to Oakland against a suddenly surging A's team, who, oh, by the way, is in the top 5. So that's all there is to say on that. So number 6, Houston Astros. MF, I know this is going to be an agreement, but how about that Cubs series that's coming up? One of the most anticipated interleague series of all time.
Oh yeah, with no doubt about it. Very highly anticipated. It's gonna be incredible to see what's gonna happen there. We just gonna have to wait and see. It's gonna be a lot of fun, no doubt about it. At least in my mind, it's gonna be very fun. But you talked about it, and yeah, so we're just gonna move right along here, and now we're gonna start. And well, Anthony, you said it. The rankings is just unbelievable right now, and what a turn of events, to say the very least. And that is that look at where the Oakland A's is. Okay, you're on the razor thin. You're on thin ice, my friends. But 25-25, that's 500. That gets you in. 7-3 in the last 10 games. Winners of 3 in a row. You're in the rankings, guys. So congratulations.
There's a correction on this. It's very interesting that we have to note this as far as Oakland goes. They've technically actually have won 6 in a row because of the fact that their game on Sunday was suspended. never completed. So they've technically won 6 in a row. So we might want to reconsider that one, MF. Just saying.
But it only says that they've won 3 in a row. So how come
Are you
would it
on?
be?
You're probably on MLB.com, right?
Yeah, I'm on MLB.
Yahoo says they've won 6. It's very tough, I know. I mean, I was in that quandary myself. But
Yeah, because it says here they've won 3. Hold on, and now you're gonna have to make me look here and check their actual schedule.
no, I have it.
Well, I'm looking. Well, I need to look at it myself. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right, because according to this, because we're in May. All right, let's see. We got is okay, that's why. Hold. The reason why they're not giving it the actual 6 is because the game is to be completed on September 6th.
Wow, that long.
That's why. Bottom of the 7th, they do lead Oakland. Oakland leads Detroit 5-3. Game has been suspended. Game to be completed on September 6th. So that's why the situation is where they're at. So if we go there, so September 6th, why? Because there's a day-night doubleheader, and that's why.
Yep.
So they're gonna complete the game that was due. That they're gonna complete the game that happened because of the rain on that day. So that means on that day, Detroit would still be considered the home team, and Oakland would be considered the visitors. And then they play their second game that will happen on that afternoon. So that's why. All right. So technically, it should be 6 in a row, but because of the suspended game, they eliminated that and restarted a count. Basically, that's a non-finish. That's why.
So we got a flip flop here at 4 and 5.
So technically, if you want to do a flip flop, you're more than welcome.
I already did.
So
I caught it before you did.
So all right. So now with that going back, so if that's the case, then we would have to give it to, I believe, the next team that would have been on the list is the Texas Rangers.
Yes.
So Texas would automatically slip into that spot. So Texas gets it. All right. So Texas, you're there. So Texas is the spot. Nothing more to say. Anthony, you go.
Yep. It is with upon further review, it is the Texas Rangers, 24 and 23, winners of 4 in a row, 7 and 3 in their last 10. They're third in batting average and runs scored. The offense is great. The pitching, that's not so good, Al. They're 27th in ERA, and they're dead last in the WHIP. Since our last rankings, the Rangers won 2 out of 3 from the St. Louis Cardinals Interleague Series, payback for 2011 in that epic World Series. And then, of course, how about this? A 3-game sweep of the Seattle Mariners. And what is going on with Seattle, man? Oh, my goodness. You want to talk about free falling? Oh, started the year 13 and 2. And since then, 10 and 27. Unbelievable. In that 3-game sweep, they outscored the Mariners by a count of 17. Well, it's not all that significant, but they still swept them. They are, however, trailing the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim 3-1 in the top half of the 6th. So we'll keep an eye on that. 2 more games against the Angels in Anaheim this weekend. Then they go up to Seattle for a 3-game series with the Mariners starting Monday. And then starting Thursday, a 4-game series with the Kansas City Royals. So that's all there is to say there. So the Texas Rangers coming in at number 5. Number 4, now this is where we put in the Oakland Athletics. Also 7-3 in their last 10, but they're winners of 6 in a row, and they're right there. They're at 500. You know the rule. 500 or better, you're eligible. So the Oakland A's, you're in. 9th in WHIP, 12th in ERA, 15th in runs scored, and 17th in batting average. Since our last rankings, we can't say it's a 4-game sweep because of that suspended game. But Oakland previously won the 3 games against the Detroit Tigers of that 4-game series in Detroit. And in those 3 wins, they outscored them 28-6. Oofa. And then they followed that up with another 3-game sweep, this time of the Cleveland Indians in Cleveland, and outscored them 18-9. So, very impressive. And they are currently leading the Seattle Mariners 4-1 in the bottom half of the 5th. They have 2 more games against the Mariners this weekend at home. Then they got the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim coming in for a 3-gamer starting Monday, off Thursday, and then next weekend they got the Houston Astros coming in for a big 3-gamer. So that's all we can say on that. This team's come out of nowhere. Chris Davis has been red hot. So that's all there is to say on that. So coming in at number 4, this is the Oakland A's. So nothing more to say on this. MF, we go to the top 3. And I know you must be very excited about a certain team of yours who's going to be coming in at number 3. Unbelievable.
Yes, number 3, the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves at number 3. Unbelievable run so far for this team. A lot of people, I'm going to openly admit it, a lot of people just didn't know what Atlanta was going to do when they first started. There was obviously some expectations. For our team to really do really good and everything else. And the next thing we know, they've delivered. They've overachieved up to this point, and it's just been an incredible ride right now. We just recently got a new addition to the team. His name is Austin Riley, and
Yes.
my God,
He's on fire, man.
this kid is unbelievable. First night, he comes into Atlanta at the second at bat. Yeah, first at bat, he struck out. It was kind of like, okay, he'll get it. He'll turn it around, because we heard a lot of great things about him in Gwinnett. He's a first-round draft pick from 2000. I think it was like 2016, 2017. Heard a lot of high stuff about him. Chipper Jones was praising about him. And the next thing we know, the second at bat, boom, went the dynamite. He hits a home run, his first home run. Youngest man to do it since Jason Hayward did it on opening day. I believe that was like 2003, 2004. He hit a home run in Atlanta at the old Turner Field. And ever since then, Anthony, this kid's been on a tear. 6 home runs in 5 games. I mean, you want to talk about making an impact and playing and just absolutely just exploding. Then you got, Ronald Acuna Jr. You got Ozzy Albies. You got Dansby Swanson. You got these young kids, and if they start getting going, if the bats start coming alive, and they have been coming alive lately, Atlanta, you got yourself a possible division championship on the line. Now, I know it's a little early, a little foreshadowing, but right now they're tied for the wild card lead with Milwaukee. They are 1.5 out of the NL East lead, and you know how cutthroat and crazy this NL East was predicted to be. And Atlanta right now is just hanging in there. So, I mean, Stecker, you're the National League Manager of the Year, and you're pushing the right buttons again. So far, the only thing I'm a little worried about is our bullpen. Our bullpen's the only thing that is. I'm gonna really admit this, Anthony. Our bullpen right now could be a liability for us because if it wasn't for the bullpen, we might be talking about maybe a World Series contender for Atlanta. Our bullpen is right now the only thing that's kind of holding us back. If we can get some players, namely Craig Kimbrell, if we could release the Kimbrell again, Anthony, I'm saying it. Watch out for the Atlanta Braves in the National League East. We're right there. But number 3, Atlanta. Florio, go.
Yeah, you are right there, MF. And I got to echo your sentiments. I mean, your young talent is so fun to watch. I mean, you remember last year how high I was on Ozzy Albies. You remember that. And, man, he's on fire. Swanson. I'm loving that Riley kid. He is so fun to watch. Swanson had a big game in St. Louis tonight. So, yeah, your guys are right there, MF. There's no doubt about it. They're only 1.5. It's only 1.5 behind Philly.
And not only that, but we also got some good young, and we still got, and even the veterans are delivering. Josh Donaldson's doing pretty good in Atlanta. Nick Markakis is doing very good in Atlanta.
And Freeman.
So, Freddie Freeman he's one of the originals. So I mean, yeah, I mean they're all doing great right now. Batting wise, we're doing good. Pitching wise, we're doing pretty well. Starting pitching, we're doing very well right now. Like I said, the bullpen's our Achilles heel right now. We let a couple of games get away last week. One in San Francisco that I wish we could have had back. We had the lead. We were doing really good. I think we had like a 3-1 lead, and we blew it at the end. 4-3 loss, and that's why we were yelling. That's why a lot of the Atlanta fans are yelling for Kimbrell to come back to Atlanta, because if we had him, that would not have happened.
Very well, perhaps that's true. So, Atlanta Braves coming in at number 3. They've won 3 in a row, 8-2 in their last 10. Here are the numbers. Atlanta is 3rd in batting average. They're 9th in runs scored. ERA, so-so, they're 14th. WHIP, they're 20th. So, since our last rankings, the Braves took 2 out of 3 from the Milwaukee Brewers. Very impressive. And then followed that up by winning 3 out of 4 from the San Francisco Giants. But on MF size, it should have been a 4-game sweep. But, hey, 3 out of 4, that's something to complain about. And then you went into St. Louis and you beat the Cardinals. So, very impressive. You have 2 more against the Cardinals this weekend, one of which will be Fox's Saturday night game of the week for most of you, not here. That's the Red Sox and the Astros. But Sunday night, you will have Sunday Night Baseball. And I'm pretty sure it'll be on ESPN. It's saying ESPN too, but I think it was because ESPN, just in case, they had to do the Western Conference Finals in the NBA. Yeah, right. It'll probably be back on ESPN. I wouldn't be surprised. Off on Monday, a brief 2-game series with the Washington Nationals. MF, you're feasting on them at the right time because the Nationals have been terrible. So I think you can take advantage of that. Off on Thursday, and then starting next weekend, a 3-game interleague series with the Detroit Tigers. So you've got a somewhat soft schedule there, MF. I mean, with the exception of St. Louis, of course. But, Washington's been struggling. Detroit's been struggling. So if you take advantage of that, I mean, as of right now, the Tigers, yes, they won. But here's the thing. The Tigers are 1-9 in their last 10. And the Nationals, well, 4-6, but still. Chance for MF's Braves to maybe feast on some soft scheduling there. But St. Louis is right there, though. Ooh, St. Louis 3-7 in their last 10, so that'll definitely help. So But nonetheless, MF, your Atlanta Braves are number 3. Number 2, the biggest surprise in all of baseball right now, the Minnesota Twins, 34-16, best record in the entire American League and all of baseball for that matter. Winners of 4 in a row, 9-1 in their last 10 games. Minnesota leads the league in runs scored. They're second in batting average. They're 9th in ERA, and they're 10th in WHIP. Just waiting for the schedule to come up, for the results, and there they are. Since our last rankings, they took 3 out of 4 from the Seattle Mariners. And in those 3 wins, they outscored the Mariners 36-10. Oof. And then they won 3 out of 4 from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. One of those games was rained out, by the way. That was Wednesday night's game. Outscored them 27-11 in those 3 games. And then tonight, pounded the White Sox 11-4. This team has been absolutely killing it lately. 2 more games against the White Sox this weekend. Soft scheduling, but then they got a murderer's row schedule this upcoming week. Starting Monday, a brief 2-game interleague series with the Milwaukee Brewers. That's not going to be easy. But next weekend, a big 4-game series with the Tampa Bay Rays at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg. So that's not going to be easy either. So take advantage of the soft scheduling while you can, Minnesota, because you've got 2 tough teams ahead of you. Milwaukee coming in, Christian Yelich, and of course the Rays, who have been one of the big surprises, but not in the rankings this week. So nothing more to say on this. The Minnesota Twins coming in at number 2. MF, I mean, they outscored Seattle 36-10, and then they outscored the Angels 27-11. Who knows what they're going to do to the White Sox this weekend?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what they're going to do to the White Sox? No doubt about it. Number 2 is indeed the Minnesota Twins. I mean, a lot of people talk about when were the Twins going to be relevant? When were they going to be relevant? When were they going to be relevant? Well, guess what? They're relevant. They are absolutely, positively relevant. They're unbelievable this year, man. I don't know what got into Minnesota. Guys, they are a threat. They are a major threat right now. And, they're the biggest surprise in Major League Baseball. No doubt about it. There's really no argument to be made here. So they're playing some great ball, and we're just going to have to wait and see here, and that's that. And number 1, well, we have not yelled this team's name in a very, very, very long time at number 1. But it's got to be the Bronx Bombers, the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
They got it. They're number 1. They're about a couple of games. Well, they're about a game behind in the loss column for the number 1 spot in all of the American League. 32 wins, two wins behind the current number 1, which is Minnesota. 9-1 in the last 10 games, 5 in a row. And look, I'm going to say it. The Yankees have been very lucky. They've been feasting on some bad clubs. Absolutely annihilated the Baltimore Orioles. What else is new? They're beating up on the Kansas City Royals right now. They actually won pretty convincingly tonight. They got a couple of more.
They got rained out.
Oh, they got rained. Oh, okay. I stand corrected. I apologize.
Doubleheader tomorrow.
So okay, there you go. So twin bill tomorrow. I think it was the old Ernie Banks who used to say, "Let's play 2." So we're gonna be playing 2 tomorrow with the New York Yankees, and so I mean they definitely have been playing some great baseball lately. Anthony, you preached about the young talent of the Yankees, and well, it's the young talent that is making them play like dominating right now, and we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. But the way the Yankees been playing lately, who knows? What's that gonna be like? What's that gonna bring to the table? Well, We'll wait and find out, but I will say this. They did everything that they could have done. Like I said, handled their business over the Baltimore Orioles. And then we're just going to have to wait and see. So they got Kansas City, the Twin Bill, like I said, the Padres coming up. Then, yes, those guys from Fenway, the Red Sox. But this time it's at Yankee Stadium. It's going to be at the stadium. So big 4-game set. Then you got to deal with then you got coming up next week, you got Toronto. Toronto's been not so great, and then the Indians for 3. And I got to say, Anthony, Cleveland, I don't know what's going on with Cleveland. I mean, they're right. I mean, Cleveland is not the same team this year. Normally you would think that the Indians would be dominating the division, but no, you know, not right now. They're not there. So we'll wait and see what happens. But number one, be proud, Florio. It's the New York Yankees. Go ahead. It's yours.
Yes, indeed. I am very proud and saved by a rainout. Ugh, saved by a rainout. I mean, but then again, playing the Royals, I mean, well, who knows? But at the same time, though, that rainout saved the Yanks from going down, possibly. Who knows? But for right now, the New York Yankees are number one. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's true. Winners of 5 in a row. Also 9-1 in their last 10. 32-17. They lead Tampa Bay by 2.5 in the AL East. They're 6th in the WHIP, 7th in batting average and ERA, 8th in runs scored. And MF, you talked about the young talent in Atlanta. Look at our young talent.
Oh yeah,
Luke Voigt, Urshela, who's been tearing it up lately, and Gleyber Torres, and of course we got Gary Sanchez back recently, so that's been a big boost to the lineup. And go figure, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and all those other big names injured, and yet they're finding ways to win. It's just amazing to me right now. I'm blown away more and more every week. Since the last rankings, the Yankees won 2 out of 3 from the Rays, that big series at the stadium last weekend. 4-game sweep of the Orioles at Camden Yards. MF, the Yanks have won 12 in a row at Camden Yards, dating back to last year, and have outscored the Orioles in those 12 wins, 99-44. So, unreal. Including 34-21 in this past series. We got rain down in Kansas City tonight. That might be the only thing that'll slow them down right now. But a day-night doubleheader in case at Kauffman Stadium tomorrow, and then a single game on Sunday, and then that 3-game interleague series with the San Diego Padres is starting Monday on Memorial Day. And of course, that's going to conjure up memories for me. 1998 World Series, where the Yanks absolutely owned them. So we all know how that series ended. 98 Yankees, still the greatest team of all time. And then from there, starting Thursday, that huge 4-game series with the Boston Red Sox at Yankee Stadium. Saturday night game of the week on Fox next Saturday. Sunday night baseball next Sunday. And then the Yanks go on a road trip in Toronto and Cleveland. So Yanks are doing what they're supposed to do, taking advantage of the soft schedule, and they took advantage of Baltimore. I'm sure they'll do well. They'll do equally well against Kansas City. We'll see about San Diego, and then of course Boston. You know how tough they always play us. So, but I'm optimistic right now. So, New York Yankees number one. I couldn't be any more delighted about that. So, it's a great feeling. Hopefully they can keep it up, and hopefully next week we'll call them out at number one again. We'll wait and see. So. All right, that'll put the bow on this edition of Strictly Sports. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in tonight. So, MF, let's get your quick shout outs in, and then we'll set up the future content. Exciting stuff coming up.
Oh yeah, indeed. Thank you to all the great fans out there for making the show as incredible as it is. You are the best fans in the world. To the super fans, you guys know who you guys are. To the 2184 crew, you guys know who you guys are. To the friends in the junior high and high school days, You guys are awesome, and that's it. So I really got nothing more to say. So thank you guys. Have a great night, Anthony. It's all yours, man.
All right, MF. Special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Special shout out to Dee Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the Woodson family. Of course, our insiders, Matt Ward and Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, the First Ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway, the crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Braderson, Rob Parsons, and of course, a gentleman who I would like to add to that crew now, our fourth horseman from the other night, Mike Silvera, who joined us for SmackDown Live this past Tuesday night. And, we had a great time, and, we'll never forget that. So, and of course, Derek Ferrera, we can't forget about him. Absolutely not. Puts it all together every week. Excuse me. All of our personalities from 6, 10, and 12, our friends over at ESPN, FS1, MLB Network, NHL Network, NBA TV, NFL Network, Lindsey McCormick and Stata Sorrell, our crew members, well, our friends from the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson, former co-hosts Megan Mooney and Mary Larson, and of course my wonderful friends and church family over at Oasis of Grace Ministries, 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. Sunday morning at 9, Bible study. A little after 10:30, Sunday service. Wednesday night at 7, Bible study. Other things going on, and that'll do it for that. I believe we will have Ridiculously Raw on Monday night. I'm not sure. Memorial Day holiday. We'll have to wait and see. Cerebral Smack Talk this week. Of course, if we do have Ridiculously Raw, we'll run down Monday Night Raw, and of course, my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on MF's work schedule. Cerebral Smack Talk, and then next Friday night, Strictly Sports. So that's it. So until possibly Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Floyer here. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up what your force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed weekend. And until Monday night, maybe for Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Tunnel 25 and YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Floyo, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.